volunteering to help with the Washington State Native Plant Society. We are working on a restoration project here at this Ebright Park, called Ebright Park. And what we're going to be doing today, or the goal of this whole project, is to restore the park and the grounds back to how it should be naturally. It has been taken over by invasive species. Does anybody know what an invasive species is by any chance?
An invasive species is usually introduced, one that's not naturally introduced.
Yes, did everybody hear that? An invasive species is a plant that has been introduced from somewhere else in the world or somewhere else in the country, and it's taken over and spread. And as it grows, it's so strong and powerful that it covers up all the natural native plants that belong here. And the native plants that are here, that are supposed to be here, provide food for birds, for insects. They provide shelter for all the little animals that live in the area. They provide the plants along the creek that we have here that are native, provide shelter and shadows so insects can hide there, so fish and frogs and insects can feed on them. All the natural native plants here are really important, and they serve a purpose. They help more than one living creature. They all rely on one another to create a whole wonderful, healthy habitat. So what we're going to do today is we're going to work really hard to try to remove a lot of these invasive species that don't belong here. And one of the major culprits is the Himalayan blackberry. Terrible. It has spread all over and choked so many beautiful plants that belong here. So what we're all going to do today is learn about the blackberry, and we're going to learn how to remove it. And Cheryl's going to tell us about our different projects. So welcome. We're so happy you're here.
That was great, Michelle. One thing I wanted to add, because this just so impressed me, my brother's a forest manager, and he told me that in one of these trees, that there can be 100 species that live in a tree, like, you know, from little small tiny animals to birds for nesting, etc. So it's amazing how many homes there are up there around. So anyway, so today there are 3 types of blackberries here. 2 of them we don't want. So and I brought kind of an example. First of all, this is a native blackberry. We like this guy. And the reason, and I'll pass it around, and I'm going to contrast it to the one that we don't like, which is let's find some leaves.
Yeah.
The Himalayan. The Himalayan, whoops. I like this together. Okay. They're somewhat the same type of leaf, but if you look, the Himalayan has nastier thorns on it, and this has smaller thorns, and sometimes it'll be more trailing blackberry when it's smaller. It's just lying on the ground, whereas this blackberry, it's thicker, and it's got the thorns on it. And this is the one we want to get rid of. The trailing blackberry we want to keep because it's native. And if we'll have stewards working in your area and you go, I don't know what that is, especially now because the leaves aren't out so much yet, you can say, hey, Cheryl or Jenny or Sid, is this a bad one or is this the good one? And we can let you know. The other one that's here that we don't like, and the leaves, this makes it a lot easier. This is an evergreen blackberry. You see the difference in the leaves here?
Yeah.
And I can pass it around, watch the thorns, is that this is the evergreen blackberry, and we don't want this one either. So the only one we want is the smaller trailing blackberry, and that's the native one. So how do we get rid of these critters? Well, some of these, especially over here, some of them are going to be really tall in the air. So what you do, you don't start trying to dig it out right away. Clip it to about this height, drag it out carefully, watch your eyes and face with this, and your neighbor's eyes and face. not really close to each other, because that's called the kill zone, is what I say. Is that when you've got a tool, if it's something that you could reach out and hit that person next to you, that's, as I work in trails, I build trails too, we call it the kill zone. So we don't work that close to each other. And with blackberries, it's really important too, because you've got these thorns and you don't want to rake it across somebody when they don't expect to see it. Okay? That's why it's really important to wear the gloves. And we'll have loppers, and Sid will talk about tools in a minute, and he'll talk more about the kill zone. And anyway, so with the blackberries, when you remove them, you want to cut them down, if they're not already down, to about this height, and then you take a shovel and you need to dig out the roots. Lucky today, instead of being here in August when it was really, really dry and hard to dig, it's pretty easy to dig these roots out. And the reason you want to just not cut it here and say, oh, we're good, is that it's going to sprout up again. You want to get down to the root ball. After that, we're going to put them to the side of the trail there, and then we're building a raft. What's a raft? A raft is a wood structure, and I'm going to have that set up, and we use it so that there's wood below, and then we put the blackberries on top of it. And the reason being is that we want those blackberries to dry out and die. If you just throw them on the ground, they'll reroot. They're just amazing little creatures for survival. Any questions, comments from questions out there? No? Okay, Sid.
Okay, so I'll do a quick little tool safety demo. First thing, as Cheryl mentioned, watch the kill zone. So when you're walking, don't keep your shovel slung over your shoulder. You can whack somebody with either end of it. You want to walk either like this or with the blade right in front of you. When you're digging, you want to keep 1 foot on the ground at all times. Don't jump with both feet on the shovel. You want to dig like this. The shovel is a blade, so watch your fingers, watch your neighbor's fingers, and that's pretty much it.
Oh, when you're done with your shovel, how do you set it down?
That's a good one.
I do it like that, so there's no Three Stooges nonsense. Loppers, same thing. These are very sharp. A lot of our loppers are very new, so keep your fingers clear. Watch the fingers of those around you. And when you're walking, keep them tucked like that. Anything else? Oh, yes.
How big of a thing could I cut with those loppers?
Is there a rule?
There is.
A rule of thumb. So we're not, you don't
Okay,
cut
then.
anything bigger than your thumb with loppers.
Okay, so
And don't cut your thumb.
definitely do not cut your thumb.
Alright, so I think we're going to divide the group in half. And so we sort of have two areas we're working on, divided by the creek. So one half of the group will be working on this side, and the other half of the group will be going across the bridge and working on blackberry on that side. So we could just say this half is there, and this half is going on that side. Easy. Yeah.